Okay, we finally got into the live Facebook. Okay, great. And for those of you who are with me tonight, I'd like to welcome you to our live Facebook. So let's get started, shall we? All right, everybody, good evening. Good evening. This is Martin Wong in here. And welcome to another Wednesday live Facebook. Well, there was some technical hiccup that we did. And due to it, we have managed to solve this. And tonight we have a very special talk. And of course, good evening, everyone. Okay, and good evening, everyone. Let me just... Hey, good evening, everyone. Please like and share this live. Okay, so we're going to be getting our regular audience in here. Thank you for coming tonight. So tonight is another interesting, as we go on, we try to make our talk more interesting as the day go on. And I also have a very special guest with me, Mr. Choong, or I'm calling him KK, but a very good friend of mine. So thank you for those of you who are coming tonight in here. So definitely one of the things that we like to do is to, really go into the depths of the market. Now, of course, some of you who are with us will probably know that usually we have been doing this as part of our educational program that we try to share with the public and ensure that all of you are in the so-called right level, understanding the education that is needed. And tonight is no difference. We are in the so-called the mood of talking about the ASEAN and also the Bursa market Q4 outlook. We also be looking at a couple of sectors. So there are some interesting developing news that just came in today. So I want to share with the audience in here. And also not forget my very good friend, Mr. KK from Macquarie, Warren, Malaysia, will share some of educational material about how to trade and invest in this market in here. So I'd like to welcome all of you coming, especially for our public audience and also our members in here. Our regular Wednesday night is here. Good evening. All right. So let's take a look at the market and the agenda for tonight. Now, tonight we have not only the speaker, but I will be talking about the ASEAN market. Now, many of you earlier was talking about what is Martin likely to talk about the ASEAN market. And if you look at it, the focus is to Nikkei. That's right, Nikkei Japan. So I leave it as a mystery. So it is a lot of focusing Nikkei. So why Nikkei? Right now, I've never talked about Nikkei. Martin always talk about the US market, a little bit of Hong Kong, but why Nikkei? Then the person we need to ask is Mr. Warren Buffett, right? A bit about history and a little bit of the story that he has and how to trade the Nikkei index, right? That's the one that I do think that there's some good opportunity from here onwards in here. And also going to be looking into the China stock market outlook. A very quick one before we move back to our Malaysian market. I have a couple of good stocks that is setting up very nicely, and I think that has some good potential going forward. And finally, I will pass the floor to Mr. KK Choong at 10 p.m. Good evening to Nora. Thank you, Nora, our very good supporter that who usually share her audience with the group in here. I welcome you and thank you for your support in here. But let's go cracking down to what we want to talk about tonight. Now, there's a lot of bad news you already heard, right? And no doubt we are seeing also this month of October. We're already in November, right? Very soon, right? 1st of November tonight in here. Yesterday was October. I was still talking about October, how bad the market has slipped. And you can see every day we bombarded with bad news. The futures are dropping. There are conflicts here. That there are certain climate change. All the subject keeps saying, and what's happening to China and what's happening to the oil prices. So it's very but very important. We want to stick our focus to where is the market is by looking at the charts. And you all know many of you all been coming to our workshop and also to our talk. We've always been really focusing a lot on charts, and you'll know about Pentagon Guider, how we use it to do the so-called market timing, giving us at least an edge when it is likely to go up signal. Remember, up night, green pentagon, and then the down signal coming down. And that's been really much of our forte tonight in here. And I do share, hopefully going forward where we have. Now, no doubt, what I've said before, if you go back to dial back to some of the talk that I did on last Wednesday, I did say that October is likely to be the low of the month, right? And then we're coming to November, where November, we will see things started to move in a very, very different direction. And what direction is that? Anybody want to guess? Those of you who are listening then there? Hopefully going up, up, up. That's right. Hopefully up, up, up. Huh? So let's take a look at this gentleman in here. Many of you are known is the very famous investor. He's almost at the 90s, Mr. Warren Buffett. Now, what really caught my eye is this new push that he's been doing in here and shifting his ASEAN focus. Now, he do have ASEAN. Remember, he also invested in BYD many years ago, right? And finally, the BYD motor car came into Malaysia. The franchise been taken up by Sam Darby. And then next thing you know, everybody driving BYD in the Malaysian highway, right? The EV car, then they came out with the Dolphin. Of course, then there were the Atto, right? Atto, that's right. The Atto 3, I've taken a look at it. They're very near to my place in here. So we did know that he was in China. And you know, you have seen, right, the EV car push up in here, how much and how big the influence is. And all of a sudden, he left China. He left China. That's right. He left China and he started to move to mana? Pergi mana? Dia pergi Jepun. The land of the rising sun. That's right. He invested in Japan. Now, take a note on the date. Very important. This date here, did you see, is May 24th. Right? Now, this May 24th, 2023. Now it's 1st of November, right? I know this news is very, very old, but there is a reason why. Because my job as an educator, as someone who share, and many of you like Nora treat me as a friend. So I just want to share something that I do think that's very profound, right? Invested in Japan on 24th of May. So this is where the big news, big media pick it up, right? Of course, I think early on the fella already muscle. Like it or not, Warren Buffett is also a bit like smart money. When he buy Japan, you think he will tell everybody. Unlikely he said he'll buy first, then 1 bulan lagi, 2 bulan, he tell everybody in the world. And guess what happened? Everybody buy because everybody want to follow Mr. Warren Buffett. All right. But now the market has pulled back a bit. The Nikkei has pulled back a bit. And this will give us a chance to muscle. But of course, I want to share with the audience tonight in here, you need to use your own judgment too. Use the chart like many of you been coming and sharing with me. So we want to do a bit of that thing. So Warren Buffett now is deemed to be the savior, the savior for Nikkei market. So in the short while, if you go through all the literature and all the material out there, the Warren Buffett has increased into stake in 5 companies. What are those 5 companies? And since these 5 companies called Itachi, Mitsubishi, Mitsui, Sumitomo, and Marubeni, okay? No Sogo, okay? No Sogo, and no Aeon, okay? That's a few Japanese guys. No Toyota, also no Honda, okay? All these are the big trading houses, big trading houses in here. And since then, the Japanese economy has suddenly reversed. It's been stagnant for almost 10 tahun already. Now, why this is important, I did talk about China. Check out one of the live FB that I talk about. China right now is behaving what Japan went through after the 1980s. And it's very scary. If China don't get it right and get out from this doldrum, later on I'll talk about China, it may have another decade of stagnation. 10 tahun lebih tau. I think 1980, 1990, until 30 years, no? Stagflation, tak jalan, until only recently. And when Mr. Warren Buffett, of course, he's the billionaire, lah, the top stock market man, finally decided to masuk to Japan, pull his money out from China, masuk Japan, then Japan semua jalan. Okay, now let's take a look at Nikkei 2025, 2225, because they are the 225 in here. So green pentagon was detected on the 11th of April. So from then onwards, you can really see, before that, early April and March, the floor already sapu this 5 company. This five company, Mitsubishi, Sumitomo, Marubeni, Itocho. Okay, what's the other one? Apa nama itu? These 5 companies now too late to buy lah. But why I want to share with you in here, just now remember the big media pickup. The Nikkei went in the big conference just to say, hey, Japan has weakened. So you see from here on the 24th of May, the big media pick up Buffett buying share. From here onwards, Green Pentagon, sudah naik already, see? All right, but Green Pentagon picked up much early. So that's why for those of you who are using the Smart Robi, either the 4 exchange in here, pretty much free now. You all use it right after hour. It's really a good tool for you all to really share with your friends. So make sure they can also learn from here. So you can see Nikkei 225 in here, pull back. Now, why I want to bring it up in here? Because this is the big 200-day moving average. Okay. The big MA. So when this big MA is like a big support, macam Great Wall of China, tombok China kan, dia banyak kuat, so you can hold on all the mongoose. Sama dengan juga, so you can see from here, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, and also now we are coming to November, okay, 2023, and you always say, remember, we have the Christmas rally, okay, in December. So that may be coming soon. So why I say this, because if you look at it, the 1st of November, which is today, it retested the 200-day moving average for the November rally upswing kan. Kebetulan kan. So this is certainly those of you who are listening right now, at the right place, at the right time, right at the support. I hope for all of us sake lah, the market jangan turun lagi lah. Hold at the Great Wall of China, the 200-day moving average here, then this thing swing up, kita semua pun jadi sikit kaya sikit lah. Christmas hari, then can buy a bit of baju lah, makanan lah, semua kan ini kan. So that's also important as part of the in here. So why Buffett like Japanese big chip stock, like Itochu, Marubeni, Sumitomo, Mitsubishi. All right, so let's take a look at in here. So if you look at it in here, Mr. Warren Buffett always like cash, right? You know that he always talk about a company must be cash rich and always look at cash flow. And so he's a cash person. We all do like company with also cash. So this is also important. If you notice, this is a very good research from Schroeder, another big unit trust, big company like BlackRock and also some of the like Morgan Stanley. They do a lot of this research. This is a very good research report, which I just picked it up also from the index. And you do notice, if you look at the S&P 500 and also STO 600, topics is Tokyo, Tokyo Exchange. You can see, yang ini hitam punya, many of the company are net cash with return to the shareholder, whereas the US company don't give so much cash. So that is a good start. Many of these companies are making money, plenty of cash. So there's one reason why Buffett like them. So keep that in mind. So when you buy any company, fundamentally, you also need to have cash, right? Another one, very cheap valuation. This is what we call price over book value. Okay, price over book value. If the book value is what we call the tangible asset means if a company, you sell everything sell all the debt, sell all the asset, you left with whatever the cash is, right? You can see is trading below 1. So below 1 means the current value of the price in the stock market is lower than whatever you can get of the tangible asset of the company. And that's why they did. Of course, if the number here, you can see many of this company, you can see banyak 53%, right, is very cheap. Banyak murah. So that's why we call it the forgotten share market. Because if you look at Nikkei 225, dulu kan, nobody want to touch. Until Warren Buffett he's like more like the, you know what, it's like the, what is that? Vasco da Gama. You all remember when you do your history book, he is one of the first Portuguese who come to Malacca. So the same thing Warren Buffett, he went to Japan. Now everybody follow. So it's a very cheap valuation. It's also good as part of our education for me to share this kind of information with you. At least you all know something about, hey, Nikkei 225, there's one influencer, blogger, Mr. Martin Wong, they cakap cheap valuation in there. But also going to give you a few more tips going forward. Now also, another point, there's 2 points. At this point number 3, banyak of this company, they do share buyback. Share buyback is important because when they share buyback, which means they take the cash because they already have 50% of the a lot of the cash company. They take those shares, they do it to buy back, so they retain the price of the company rather than let it drop. This is a very good corporation move that also practice a lot in US. And we know, like example Intel Intel, I know they do a lot of share buyback. Apple also do a lot of share buyback. Microsoft also. I think another company that's doing that is also PayPal. They are buying a lot of share buyback because why? Many of their C-suite, the CEO, the CFO, many of their remuneration, dia punya bonus, all tied to the share prices in here. So that's why important they buy this kind of share buyback in here. All right. Okay. So don't forget, those of you listening, please share the video in your timeline so more people will enjoy the education that I'm trying to share over in here. Now, so why when it's undervalued, right? This is why we talk about what we say just now in here, right? What Mr. Warren Buffett. Now, if you look at these are what we call PE. PE is price over earnings. Okay. So price over earning usually, if you look at the typical stock market for Malaysia now is about 14 to 15 times. They always look at 5-year average. So this is how cheap it is, right? So 14 to 15 times, that is Malaysia. And also nobody really like it. But if you look at US, it's 28 times. This one is based on the CAPE. Another way of looking. Forward is 19 times, 22 times. PB, you can see, price over book value 4.1, dividend yield 1.6. Now you compare the US in terms of yang mana paling murah punya in terms of valuation. Now you go to Japan, okay? If you go to Japan, it's only 14. Okay, you go to so it's versus 15-year medium means a 15-year average. Then forward PE also 14, which is quite good. Very cheap like Malaysia Malaysia KLSE is also 14 to 15. That's why. But our KLSE foreign funds semua cabut. Tak ada orang mau datang here. Then you got trailing PE. This one look at last year punya lah. You see US is 22 and the price over book value also very cheap. Lower the number better. So this one you want to have lower number. This one also you want a lower number, which means you're getting things much cheaper. And dividend yield, you want higher. Okay, dividend yield you want higher, which is 2.4%. EM stand for merging market. Merging market like Malaysia lah. Malaysia, apa itu lagi? Malaysia, Laos, Vietnam, those are merging markets. Singapore doesn't fall under merging market. So you can see from here, that's why Japan is very attractive. Got hijau sini, green, and also got green here. All right. So take note of that. That's very important. So in terms of valuation, it's one of the cheapest stock market right now in here. But caveat, always got problem one. Martin Wong always share all good, but must also think about it. Now the problem with investing directly in Japanese yen, if you buy directly, can be risky. Okay, because why? The worst performing currency in the world is what? Which one? You all know or not? I know you're going to say Malaysia one. Ringgit. No. Ringgit is number 2 worst performing stock in the world. The worst performing now is still Japanese yen. Okay, because of Japanese yen depreciating against US dollar lah. With ringgit is also, if you go to Japan, pretty much tak tukar lah. Means 1 ringgit you can get 30 or 31 yen. Okay, so it's almost there. You don't see much of it. So for Malaysian, if you use ringgit to buy directly in Japan, right, not much of risk, but it still will move not in favor of you because Japan yen is the worst performing share, worst one in the world. Malaysia is second worst performing currency in the world. So it's like abang adik lah, not much of a difference in here. But if you convert it to US dollar, you can see the great return of Japan, which is around here, right? This is a time of they're doing the research at 15%. Right now, this now goes down to 9%. Right, but if you invest in US, you look at yang mana this of course Dow Jones is giving it kosong lah. I think 0.8. Nasdaq, okay, Nasdaq 100 is plus 30%. S&P is plus 10%. Okay, S&P 500. Right, this is 9%. So if you want to diversify a bit, this is definitely good. And also right now, no one is focusing on the Japanese market in here. So let's take a look at Nikkei 225. One of the ways if you look at it, this is the year-to-date return. This is yearly return. Yearly return in Japanese yen. JPY. So you can see for 2023 so far is 21%. Very, very good. If you compare to Malaysia now, it's minus 3.7 to 4% negative for Malaysia. This is Bursa KLCI. Okay, so you look back here, going back to 10 years, 10 years, right? Only 2 years only. Okay, 2 years. Even on the COVID year, it actually hang on. 2022, we all know 2022, we have the Ukraine-Russian war, fight. That's why every country also lost money. We also lost money. We can say this one lost 9%. But this year, because just now, bila kita tahu Warren Buffett, big media cover was May 2023. Okay, on May 2023, Warren Buffett masuk Japan, invest in Japan. Okay, and that's what it was around 10 or 11, 12%. And because he invested, the flood now jumped to 21%. If you look at it historical, right now we are at the high, 2012. Who knows? Next year, 56%. Will we come to that? Well, we will see. Okay, but at least you already know about these things. So when next time people talk about Nikkei 2225, you hear it first from live Facebook at Martin TF Wong. Okay, so you look at Nikkei 2225 again. Why we want to do this right now? It is supporting, okay, at the 200-day moving average. So one way you can play on this Nikkei 225, my friend, Mr. KK, will share with you how you can have an opportunity on the Nikkei 225 right now, right at this support in here. Okay, now let's talk about China. Okay, now China, we all know, previously, banyak problem after they reopen. I think I talked a lot about it on 2 weeks ago about China problem. So this is a series of so-called macroeconomics where I share my personal opinion, what's happening to the world and how you can see this kind of thing and able to help you in here. So we all know that ever since presidency and presidency of China wanted to fight with Joe Biden, or the trade war which continued. Then you also have the chip war. You all know, remember, right? The Huawei Mate 60 came out, then the Apple 15 came out. So all those has also add up into it. But foreign fund has exceeded a lot. They took out almost 5.1 billion. You can see from the year to date, 2023, right? The last 3 months has been really negative outflow. Usually, this was a good year where inflow, but this outflow may continue some more, right? Okay, now the good thing is okay, where's my pen? Xi and Biden is meeting this month, okay? This November in San Francisco, SFO, okay? So there will be a meeting there, and usually this kind of meeting may be positive. Okay, because they want to restart back a lot of the trade war in here. Because currently ongoing, you can see every day the intrusion in the sea in China, staking the South China, claiming that itu semua bukan no good. We need to get together back with China, because if China improve its stock market, improve its business, turn around better, our ringgit will improve. Remember I talked about it earlier. Like it or not, our ringgit somehow correlated to China one. Even Thailand also correlated with China. Thailand also dropped, but didn't drop as much as we. Thailand recovered back because finally they got their new prime minister, right? So you look at the overall, the purchasing index, which measure the what we call the manufacturing or the economic activity, drop in 2024. That's very scary. This was the COVID, right? Remember? And 2021, this was a COVID, and then there was another drop. I think another second COVID. Turun lagi. You remember they have 2 shutdown, right? This was the first shutdown. Okay, this was the second shutdown. So 2 shutdown, semua tutupkan. All right, now let's turn our focus to Bursa Malaysia in here. Now, if you look from here, right now, Bursa Malaysia is coming to a point which is what we call a symmetric triangle. Okay, so at this junction, it does look like the market has a bit more room to down. Okay, now more likely to go symmetric triangle, but don't put your hopes to the bearish side. One of the reasons why I say so is because there one news that came out today, a very interesting news that came out, is the Penang Transport Master Plan. Now, we all remember in 2013, when our last Prime Minister, Najib, right, he opened up a lot of infrastructure projects, right, 2013, and we know that the stock market boomed, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. So right here or not, my observation of, especially in the context of Malaysia Bursa market, we need infrastructure, right? We need infrastructure project, okay? And we need construction, okay? Construction will lead, construction sector, that will eventually lead to property doing well. And definitely this Penang residential property market, driven by the Penang project, Penang master plan. I think they're building some sort of like LRT, MRT, and that's going to be good. So this was a very good research done by TA. He talks about few companies, Andaman Island, Kejaya. Is it Kejaya? Keep in mind, Kejaya. Then there's another one, Gamunda. All the railway projects show got Gamunda, but the other smaller, IGM, WCT. So what I've found today are a couple of good stocks. You can see Gamunda, even though they have uptrust, the market came back down, but it turned green Pentagon, hasn't run yet. This is actually a good stock for the longer term. So because this is in the construction sector, Kejaya. Then YTL, YTL been jalan for a long time. Then red Pentagon come out, the market pull back. Guess what? Green Pentagon comes out, green GP. Green Pentagon sudah datang already. So this is utility lah, and they're going to data center, they're going to renewable energy, YTL power. I think also got IA juga lah. I think in UK one, they got some all inside there. But also they're doing, and right now there's a pullback, right? And today closed very nice also on a green. So this one, I think it will test the old high in here. Again, another nice move at Green Pentagon. So this is all got to do with it. So don't be over pessimistic. The overall KLCI has a symmetric triangle, will likely to go down, but there are still some good projects on this one here. And finally, it's Kejaya. All right. So now you can see this is a very good bet. Kejaya have double top here. Okay, these are resistant, right? But it's a Green Pentagon here, 137. Put your stop loss around here, just below here. Or worst case at the ATR stop loss. Okay, ATR stop loss. All right, I can't buy because non-Sharia YTL. Oh, yeah. Now Summa ran here. Okay, never mind. You can check out some of the other stock that is perhaps construction, more Sharia one in over there. Okay, so this is where the Kejaya is. This up. Now for the Nikkei 225, okay, for our members, just now we remember we told you, it is now supported, at 225. This is the so-called Pentagon guided chart for N225, Nikkei 225. So we just need to come, and you also have a double bottom. Double bottom here. Good support, swing back up here. This hopefully the November to, remember I've talked about November, December, January. Okay, this is to January. These are your Christmas rally. And next year is presidential year. Remember presidential 2024. You have Biden dengan Trump berlawan lagi sekali lagi like 2020, and you know that year 2020 was also a boom year too, because normally it's a good year presidential. So going forward, just want to bring up the optimism. I know the market is down, but that is why October month seasonality is the market bottom there. Okay, market bottom inside. So right now with that, I sort of set up the environment, where the market is leading, and couple of Bursa KL structure in here, and also Japan market Nikkei 2225. And I'm going to have my friend Mr. KK in here to continue our education to the public and some of the products offering and services in here. So for our members and also for our public in here, I'd like to please welcome my good friend Mr. KK. All right, KK, you there, KK?
Yes, Martin, thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening to you. Let me share my screen. All right. Just to double confirm, Martin, can you see the can you guys see the screen that I'm presenting now?
Yes, I can see very well.
All right. That's good. Thank you so much, Martin, for the introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to be guest speaking here in this session tonight. My name is Kamki, or you can call me KK. And I'm a member of the sales team here at Macquarie Warrants Malaysia. And tonight's talk will be a short one where I'll be introducing you to the topic of structured warrants, which is very useful, especially to those who are new to the topic. All right. So during the session, for the session tonight, I'll be discussing about what are warrants and how they can be useful to your trading. And we will also quickly go through some of the important warrant terms that you need to know of, and as well as the steps that you can take when selecting a structured warrant to trade. All right. I will also quickly go through the tools that are available for free from our website, so that to help you with your warrants trading experience. Okay. So warrants can be a very useful tool in your trading, and definitely looking forward to demonstrate how they can be used as another valuable tool in your portfolio. All right. So without wasting any more time, let us just jump to the topic for today. As usual, before we begin, I just want to kindly request that you refrain from sharing or downloading or uploading any materials from this webinar to the public without our prior consent. It's also important to note that the presentation materials that we'll be discussing here, they have not been reviewed by the SE. All right. So additionally, would also want to highlight that the investment products, including warrants, they are subject to significant investment risks, including the possible loss of principal invested, and that past performance is not indicative of future performance. Okay. Furthermore, I would like to emphasize that the examples that are quoted in this presentation, they are intended solely for educational purposes, and they should not be taken as investment views or strategies or even recommendations to conclude any transactions. Okay, so now that we have covered these important points, let us just continue with our session today. Remembering that the information shared here is for educational purposes and meant to help you learn. All right. So I've talked about the agenda roughly just now, early. So let us just quickly go on to the first topic for today. I will just give you a brief overview of structured warrants. So, okay, now, if you have been trading here in the market for some time, I'm very sure that you have heard of structured warrants before. These structured warrants, they are actually listed instruments issued by financial institutions or other investment banks that allow you to gain leverage exposure to an underlying asset at only a fraction of its underlying price. Okay. Now, these structured warrants, they actually track the performance of their underlying asset, and they have been available for trading on Bursa Malaysia for a very, very long time. I think since the early 2000s. Okay, so these underlying assets, they can include any local or foreign stocks. They can also include indices as well as ETFs. All right. Now, as a leverage product, warrants allow investors to sort of gain exposure to an underlying asset or a mother share with a smaller capital outlay, all right, without being subject to margin calls. So this means that investors, they cannot lose more than their initial investment. Okay, so this actually sets warrants apart from some other forms of derivatives or leverage products. All right, so you might be wondering why actually people trade warrants. All right. So one of the key reasons why warrants have become increasingly popular among investors is the gearing effect. All right. So warrants are actually leverage product, which means that even small movements in the underlying asset can result in significant percentage changes in the warrant's value. Right? For instance, say you have a stock which is priced at 1 ringgit, for example, and then the warrant is priced at 10 cents, for example. All right. A 1 cent increase in both the stock as well as the warrant, that would mean a 10% gain in the warrant, whereas the underlying would have only increased by 1%. Okay, so this potential for amplified profits makes warrants an attractive choice for investors who are seeking to magnify their returns. All right, so that's gearing. The next main reason why people trade structured warrants is the fact that warrants, they also require a lower initial investment as compared to buying the underlying directly. So this makes warrants actually very accessible to investors with limited capital. And also additionally, since it uses a smaller capital, it also frees up share capital for investors to explore other investment opportunities. All right. Now, the third reason why people trade warrants is the flexibility that warrants provide. All right. So warrants, they can be issued, like what I said earlier, warrants, they can be issued over a wide range of underlyings, which include stocks, they include indices as well as ETFs, both local or foreign. So this gives investors more flexibility in terms of choosing the assets they want to invest in. All right. And last but not least is the fact that, one of the advantage of trading warrants is the potential to generate profits in both bullish market and bearish market conditions. Right? Unlike traditional investments, which only rely on upward price movements, market night. Okay, so warrants, they provide opportunities for investors to capitalize on price fluctuations in any direction, up or down. All right, so this enables investors to adapt to changing market dynamics and potentially benefit from various market scenarios. All right, so if you can see, overall structured warrants, they are very a more versatile and powerful investment tool that can be used to achieve a variety of investment goals. All right. However, it's also important to remember that they also carry risks. All right. Okay. So before we move on to discussing the components of structured warrants, let us just first explore the two types of structured warrants in the market. These are call warrants and put warrants. All right. So, to put it simple, okay, a call warrant gives investors the right to buy the underlying asset, while a put warrant gives investors the right to sell the underlying asset. Okay. Now, the call warrant, right, is a type of warrant that you buy if you have a bullish outlook on the underlying. All right. The value of a call warrant will actually increase when the underlying asset rises, right? It moves in the same direction. Market share up, call warrant value also will be up, all right? Now, on the other hand, if you have a bearish outlook, if an investor has a bearish outlook, a put warrant is the type of warrant that he may want to explore, as the put warrant, its value, the value of a put warrant increases when the underlying falls. Okay, so this is important to note. It's also important to note that this put warrant, right, it actually moves in an opposite direction to the underlying asset. Okay, so you understanding the differences between calls and put warrants, they actually allow investors to make more informed decisions, and also they can capitalize on various market conditions. All right, so let us just move on to the important warrant terms that everyone needs to know about. And the first one is the expiry date. All right. So when trading structured warrants, right, it's actually important for investors to, not only structured warrants, other investment tools as well. It is important for investors to grasp the fundamental components involved. All right. Now, for structured warrants, the first component I want to talk about is the expiry date. So the expiry date, basically, it just it signifies the date where the warrant expires. All right. So all structured warrants will have expiry dates, and so this actually makes them more suitable for shorter term investments rather than long term ones. All right. And for both calls and put warrants, right, the longer a warrant has until its expiry, the more valuable it is. All right. The longer it has until its expiry, the more valuable it is. This is because the longer warrant has until its expiry date, the greater the probability of it expiring with value. So this enhances its, enhances the desirability in the market. All right. Now, the second item I would like to talk about is the exercise ratio. All right. The exercise ratio is basically the number of warrants needed to exchange for 1 unit of the underlying asset. So let me get a pen here. So say, for example, you see an exercise ratio of 200 to 1 or 10 to 1 or 5 to 1, for example. So let's say if the ratio is 2 to 1, this basically means that 2 warrants are needed to exchange for 1 unit of the underlying at expiry. Okay? And this exercise ratio, it actually plays an important role in determining the warrant's sensitivity, meaning how responsive the warrant will be, all right, to the price changes of the underlying. All right. So warrants with warrants with smaller exercise ratios tend to be more sensitive or more responsive, but they have a higher absolute price. All right. Now, on the other hand, warrants with higher exercise ratios, they are generally less sensitive or less responsive, but they typically have lower absolute prices. Okay. All right. So that's exercise ratio. The next thing I would like to turn you guys to turn your attention to is the exercise price of a warrant. Another important component of structured warrants. So it is also referred to as the strike price. All right. So this basically represents the predetermined price at which investors have the right to buy or sell the underlying on the expiry date. Okay. So by comparing the strike price and the current price of the underlying asset, right, we can actually determine the moneyness of the of a warrant, which can basically fall into 3 different categories: in the money, at the money, or out of the money. Okay, so in the diagram that you see here, basically, to make it simple, so if the strike price, we call it the exercise price. So if for a call warrant, if the exercise price is below the underlying price, the warrant is said to be in the money, right? No, if you if you can refer here, right, that will be easier. If the underlying price is above the exercise price, the call warrant would be in the money, right? Now, vice versa for put warrants, all right? And if the underlying price of the call warrant is below the exercise price, the call warrant is said to be out of the money, all right? If the strike price is higher and then the underlying price is below that, the call warrant is said to be out of the money, whereas the put warrant would be in the money. And when both are the same, we call them at the money. All right. So now, if you ask, so which one is better, in the money or out of the money? The answer is there's no really a right answer for this, because different moneyness, different in the money and out of the money warrants, they have their own advantages. All right. So say, for example, an in the money warrant, they are usually more expensive. They have higher absolute warrant price. And the percentage price movements will be small. And at the same time, in the money warrants, they tend to be more sensitive or more responsive to the price of the underlying asset. All right. So these are actually very useful for shorter term intraday traders, because they can get in and out of the market fairly quickly. All right. Now, the other thing, for out of the money warrants, they basically have no intrinsic value, but they are less expensive. So the absolute warrant price for these out of the money warrants, right, they are usually cheaper, relatively cheaper, and they will have big percentage price changes, all right, because it's cheaper, all right. And at the same time, these out of the money warrants, right, they are usually less sensitive compared to in the money warrants, right, which means they are less responsive to the price movements in the underlying, but they are less expensive lah. They have a lower absolute warrant price, right? So these are usually they are suited people with tradings. I mean, people who are looking to trade these warrants for a longer period, in a medium term, they can look at the out of the money warrants. All right. So some examples here. I don't want to spend so much time in this slide. These are just showing you what are in the money warrants and how do you look at them, right? So say for example calls. So if you see here after the name of the underlying, if you see a letter C here, C actually stands for call warrants, and this is in the money. So in order to see whether the warrant is in the money or at the money, you can actually compare the exercise price with the price of the underlying. So say, for example, this call warrant, the exercise price is 4.88 ringgit, while the mother share is actually trading way higher than that. So this warrant is actually in the money, all right, in the money. Compared to a put warrant, say, for example, you have this put warrant, HSI, HPW, it has the exercise price of 18,200, whereas the underlying, the index, the HSI futures is trading way below that. It's trading at 17,157. So this put warrant is actually in the money, right? And the opposite actually applies for out of the money warrants. It's actually terbalik lah. It's the opposite side. Say for call warrants, if the exercise price is higher than the underlying price, the call warrant is said to be out of the money. Okay, vice versa for the for put warrants. All right, so let us just move on to the next. Another important term which I want to talk about tonight is the effective gearing. All right, so effective gearing, it basically measures the percentage change in the price of a warrant in response to a 1% change in the underlying asset, in the price of an underlying asset. So for instance, if you come across a warrant with an effective gearing of, okay, I have examples here. So let's say, for example, warrant A. If you come across warrant A, it has an effective gearing of 5 times. This basically means that it means that a 1% change in the price of the underlying will result in a 5% change in the warrant price, right? Now, if you see 10 times, if you see an effective gearing of 10 times, it basically means that if the underlying moves by 1%, the warrant can change by 10%, right? So understanding this term, effective gearing, can help assess the potential risks and rewards associated with trading a warrant, right? Now, essentially, it measures the leverage of a warrant lah. All right. So by understanding this effective gearing, right, investors, they can actually make more informed decisions based on their risk appetite as well as their investment goals. All right. So, so basically, what I want to say here is effective gearing. A higher effective gearing will give you a bigger movement in the warrant. So when there's a bigger movement in the warrant, so it actually gives you higher profit potential, but it also comes with higher risk. All right. So it's always important for an investor to know their trading profile. They have to know, the risk involved as well as the potential profit that they are looking to gain from the warrant. All right. So it's always good to strike a right balance. So if let's say you are an investor who is more conservative, you can actually choose warrants that has relatively lower effective gearing levels. All right. Now the next one, I think this is the last term that I want to talk about, is the warrant sensitivity. So basically it refers to the amount that the mother share price needs to move for corresponding one tick movement in the warrant. So this means that it shows the number of ticks that is required in the mother share or an underlying for a one tick movement in a warrant. So this parameter, right, it actually is useful for shorter term traders or investors who seek to capitalize on small or short movements in the warrant. Right. Now, one thing you want to remember here is that when you see the sensitivity on our website, the lower the number of ticks, it means that the more responsive the warrant is. Right. The lower number of ticks, the more responsive the warrant is. So in this example here, right, which is more sensitive? See, the lower number of ticks, the more sensitive the warrant. So in this example, right, if you compare these two call warrants, the left one has like 35 to 36 ticks, whereas the right one 63 to 64 ticks. So which warrant is more sensitive? The left one, CR4, right? CR4. Because the lower the number, the more sensitive it is. Because CR4 here, it actually takes 35 to 36 ticks for a 1 tick change in the 35 to 36 ticks in the underlying for 1 tick change in the warrant. Whereas on the right side, it takes up to 63 to 64 ticks. So CRW on the right is actually less sensitive. Okay. Now that is warrant sensitivity. Now that we have covered the risk, the important terms that are involved with, that you have to know about structured warrants, let us just move on to the next topic on the steps that you can easily take to select a warrant. Okay, so by understanding these important factors, right, you can actually make, simplify the warrant selection process. Okay, so we've basically summarized it into 4 simple steps. All right, the first step is to determine your view on the underlying asset. Right, will it go up or go down? So this will actually guide your decision to go long or short. Okay, that's number 1. All right, now once you have determined your view on the underlying asset, the next step you can move on to set a trading time frame. All right. This trading time frame must be one that aligns with your trading profile. So you should actually consider how long you expect the underlying to move towards your target, as well as how long you plan to hold the warrant for. Okay, so what you want to do is to choose a suitable expiry date, and once you have done that, you can move to step number 3 here, which is to check the effective gearing level. Now, remember earlier I've said to strike a right balance between the risk and the return. So effective gearing, I'm going to repeat this again. It actually measures the rate of change in the price of a warrant with respect to a 1% change in the underlying asset price, right? The higher the effective gearing, the higher the potential returns, but also the higher the risk. So it's always important to find a right balance that matches your desired profit potential as well as your risk tolerance. Okay. Now, once you have covered step number 3, you can actually look at the last step, which is to compare the liquidity of a warrant. All right. Now, liquidity is actually a very important factor when trading structured warrants, as it determines how easily you can buy or sell the warrants. Right. I will explain further in the next slide. So let's say for example, many investors, right, they actually mistakenly assume that a high volume trader, it means a high level of liquidity. Now, to evaluate a warrant's liquidity, right, you should actually consider these 2 factors. First one, number 1, is the bid and ask volume, the buyer and seller volume. Second one is the bid and ask spread, right? The distance between the buyer price and the seller price. All right. So first step is to check the bid and ask volume. It's always good to look out for a volume that is as high as possible. Anything that's over 500,000 is good. All right. Now the second part is to ensure that the warrant has a tight bid and ask spread. All right. A tight bid and ask spread means that the bid price here and the ask price is actually 1 tick apart. Okay, so for warrants that are below 1 ringgit, right, 1 tick apart is half a cent, 0.005. All right, so in this example, right, I will just ask, what warrants do you think, which warrant, warrant X or warrant Y, which do you think is a more liquid warrant in terms of bid and ask volume and bid and ask spread? It is actually warrant X, right? Now, even though you see, even though warrant X, right, its traded volume is only 500,000 compared to warrant Y, which is way higher than that. If you look closely, right, warrant Y, the bid and ask volume is actually very thin. It's very little. And then if you look closer here, the bid and ask price is actually on Y, 12.5 versus 13.5. So it's actually a gap in between. All right. Whereas if you compare warrant X, even though it has a lower volume traded, the bid and ask volume is actually very thick, and it has a tight. It is trading on tight. It is a tight. It has a tight bid and ask spread. Okay. So in this case, warrant X would be a better choice in terms of liquidity. All right. So that's step number 4. Okay. So now, let us just quickly go through the tools that can help you with trading warrants. All right, and these are all available for free at our website, malaysiawarrants.com.my. Here on top, you can actually scan the QR code here, and to go to the website. One of the first important tool that I wanted to highlight is our Live Matrix tool. We call it Live Matrix Plus. Now, this page is actually directly linked to our market making system, and it gives you insights into where our bid and offer prices will be for a warrant at different price points in the underlying asset. Okay, so with this Live Matrix, right, you can actually select up to 9 different warrants in a single page, and you can very easily determine where the warrant will trade at when the underlying moves to a specific level. So like here in the example, it will actually show you what price it will be trading at when it moves to a certain price points in the underlying asset. Okay, so this eliminates the need for guesswork, and it actually allows you to make more informed trading decisions. All right, so the next tool, oh yeah, the bid and ask spread, right, before I forget, it actually also helps you to see if a warrant is if our warrant is on a tight spread or a wide spread. All right. So if you compare here, right, if you compare these 2 different warrants, this warrant as well as this warrant, if you compare the bid and ask price, the warrant on the right side, CRT, is actually trading on a wide spread, whereas on the left side is trading on a tight spread. So with this Live Matrix tool, right, you will actually you can actually easily determine whether a warrant is trading on a tight spread or a wide spread, right? You want to avoid buying warrants that is on a wide spread, as this will lead to higher trading costs, and it also requires the underlying asset to move even more in order for you to break even. All right. So the next tool I would like to talk about is the warrant search tool, whereby, if you remember just now, I've talked about the 4 steps of selecting a warrant. You can actually implement the 4 steps by using the warrant search tool from our website for free. All you need to do is to just select the calls or puts. You can select the tenure that you want to look at, as well as the effective gearing levels that is suitable for you, and you can also compare the liquidity of the warrant by using the warrant search tool. Okay, so yeah, this is the highlight for tonight. Is the warrant heat map tool, which is also available for free on our website. This tool actually provides a directional view of the underlying asset of your choice, and it is available for free from our website. Basically, it's a tool which shows you the trend of an underlying, and it is equipped with charts filled with TradeVSA's proprietary indicators. Now, it actually also shows you the charts with the Pentagon guiders as well. If you can see here, there are pentagons here as well, and you can actually see the 3 or 6 months chart from the website. And also the associated warrant, the associated Macquarie warrants, when you click on the name of the underlying, right? Basically, it tells you what are the associated warrants for the underlying. Okay. Now, you can actually also easily filter these by just clicking on the drop-down menu. So you can do weekly bullish. There's also weekly bearish, green pentagon, red pentagon. So basically how it looks like, I would just, if you, let me just quickly go through. I have it here. So basically what you want to do, right, you can just easily, this is how it looks like, by the way, this is how it looks like. You can actually just type in the name of the underlying that you want to see, or you can filter it by going through one by one downstairs. So say, for example, just now, Martin, I think he mentioned YTL Power. So basically, you just type in YTL Power in the search bar, and you can just click on the stock code, and it will show you the chart equipped with pentagons, the indicators, TradeVSA's proprietary indicators. Or if you want to see the associated warrants for the underlying, say YTL Power, it actually shows you the warrant that is associated with the underlying. So say, for example, you want to see a Nikkei. Yeah, it actually shows you the associated warrants with that underlying. All right. So you can also filter weekly bullish. Say, for example, you want to see what are the stocks or the underlines that shows that has shown green pentagons yesterday. You can just type in, you can just select green pentagon from the drop down, and the underlines will appear. All right. So say, for example, YTL, this was when it appeared, the most recent green pentagon. All right. So that's basically how the warrant heat map looks like. Do check it out for free on our website, malaysiawarrants.com.my. I would like to also highlight that our new coverage over the Nikkei stock average, the Nikkei 225 index, this actually which allows investors to gain leverage exposure to the Japanese market. Now, like other index warrants, right, these new Nikkei warrants actually track the movement of the SGX Nikkei 225 index futures contracts, right? Not the cash index. It tracks the SGX Nikkei 225 index futures contracts, right? These index futures contracts will expire every second Friday of each quarterly month, which is March, June, September, and December. So for example, now it's November, right? The warrants are actually tracking the December futures contract. Okay, so investors can actually trade these warrants with their existing brokerage accounts, similar to how they trade shares. It's the same, similar to how they trade shares, right? So our market making hours for these Nikkei warrants is actually from 9 a.m. to 12:29 p.m. and for the morning session, and for the afternoon session, it is from 2:55 p.m. until 4:43 p.m. right, for the afternoon session. Right, you can actually see all this information on our website under the Live Matrix page. So if you are keen to trade these Nikkei warrants, remember to look out for the warrant name. It actually starts with the word Nikkei, Nikkei, and you just have to type in Nikkei in your Bursa trading platform. So these are some of the examples that are of warrants, of Nikkei warrants that are currently listed. All right. So I think that pretty much sums up what I want to talk about tonight. I think I accidentally went past. So do follow us on our Telegram channel. We have our Telegram channel. You can search it. It's called Macquarie Warrants Malaysia, or you can scan the QR code right here in the page to go to our Telegram channel. We regularly share information on newly listed warrants, market trends, as well as our top performing warrants. We also share a lot of educational materials like expiry calculations, corporate actions, and much more. All right, you can easily scan the QR code right there, or you can search at Malaysia Warrants, at Macquarie Warrants Malaysia. All right, so yeah, Martin, over to you. I'm pretty much done.
A lot. Okay, thank you, KK. Now there were a couple of questions that came out pertaining to warrant. I think it wasn't that difficult, and I did answer them. I think that was from Kathy Lu. On that basis, I hope I answer your
Let
question.
me have a look.
Yeah, maybe KK can comment on it too, if you like to. Those two
Sure.
answers.
Sure.
Two questions.
Let me have a look. Okay. What happens if you accidentally forgot about the structured warrant expiry and you held it? Okay, so what I'm getting here is what happens when you accidentally held the warrant past its expiry date. Okay, so basically, if let's say you have accidentally held the warrant past its expiry date, right? You don't have to do anything. All right, you don't have to do anything. There will be no further action required from the investor if he or she has held the warrant past the expiry date. This is because if the warrant expires in the money, it will be automatically exercised, and the investors who are holding the in the money warrant, they will receive a cash settlement amount either via electronic payment or check. Right. However, if let's say the warrant expires out of the money, then the warrant will be worthless. Right. But no top ups will be required. All right. I think no more questions, right, Martin?
Yep. Okay. So
Yep.
I will do the closing in here. So good applaud to my good friend KK to sort of change the tone a bit rather than listening to me every Wednesday. We do have KK from Macquarie, Warren, Malaysia, sharing with his educational so-called instrument for those of you who are seeking a little bit of diversification, or rather than just buying shares. So definitely you might want to check out the Malaysia Warrant website, or you can go over to malaysiawarrant.com.my, which TradeVSA are very proud to be one of their product widget so-called technology provider for Macquarie in here. Very good in here. So thank you again. So for the continuation, the message that I have for the overall market for this coming Q4, as I said before, the conflict is still ongoing as we've been talking about. And also don't forget the Russian-Ukraine conflict is still there. So the energy sectors and gold sectors, which I talked about last week, still ongoing. Now, this week, we have a lot of slew of corporate earnings or corporate profits that are coming out. I think tonight I just came out on my news flash, AMD is doing a much better in here. And I think Apple will be coming out this week, or maybe end of this week or next week. So that's why we see the US that support the Nasdaq is definitely profound that. And I do think if Apple comes out better, you'll see the market rally up, and then we have a nice maybe a triple bottom top, not the kind of triple that we see, but a wash, which is a very classic Wyckoff wash before the market move out. I'm still hoping for that. I hope that I'm not wrong. I don't want to take all my friends here to Holland, but you all know anything is possible, right? Just sort of give you two sides of the picture. If it does break down, you need to cut loss. If it does go up, hey, that's good, man. Then we will see the November, December rally. And again, that's basically on the seasonal that we see. Now, the third part, the technology sector sideway, it's ongoing with the US chip breakdown that we see right now. And also the China slowdown. No doubt about it. We've seen foreign funds leaving. But the news that President Xi is meeting President Biden this month end in San Francisco, which just came out in the news, will be interesting to see things coming out. So usually when you have this event of a meeting on November, so the run-up is going to be nice, which means short sellers on the US market will pull back. They're not going to be shorting because they will probably short on when they meet on good news, they will short. So they're going to be holding up their short. You can see the market pick back and recover. They'll probably be going up on a nice average flow. And also this month, and also end of November, we also have the CPI figures coming up, which usually I talk about it in here. The Jerome Powell may just pause interest rate for the month of the November month, and then you can see the market recover. But that doesn't mean in December they do one. Probably they will probably postpone it to next year, February. right? With the Christmas period coming up, because now they have a new House Speaker, Mike Johnson in the U.S. Congress. This is something that they have to. He's a very conservative, mega loyalist that side with Donald Trump. So we'll see how the political side pan out on that one. So that's the thing we have in here. So don't forget, join me on Friday, this coming Friday, for Smart Robbie US. For those who don't know, the Monday session we focus on the Bursa. On the Friday, we'll talk more on the US side. So it gives you that. And also our current partnership also with USmart. Those of you who are interested, open up a broker account with cheap commission in here. Don't forget to use the so-called invitation code NYVJPA. And for that one, I actually did it. You all know, right? Because of the TD Ameritrade trade, they have to close up account. Got a few text messages, a few phone call. Hey, Martin, you talked about the TD Ameritrade many years ago. I bought a couple of Apple shares, and now I have to close it because they did turn into this so-called free commission business model. But we all know when you give free, they cannot survive, and that's why now they have to close shop. Not really close up. They only accept the high-end investor. Right, they're changing a business model in here, and such. We are asking our members, as well those of you who have US share, to transfer your share probably to USmart. And for me, it's actually end of this month I have to do it. Else my money will probably be stuck there in here. But at least it's good. I kept it in US dollar, and with the US dollar strengthening, I think many of you have it. And also, don't forget, on Friday I do talk about the Sharia shares, how you can find those Sharia compliant shares. Through one of the ways was using halal, HLAL, on the ETF share. Maybe I'll talk more on this Friday too. All right, so with that, I'll end the session tonight. Don't forget, those of you who are new, join our Telegram chat room for all the free stock market information in here. And I hope you have the remaining of the night well rested, and another good trading day tomorrow. With that, can follow me also on Martin TFL or on the Smart Robbie. Thank you for coming, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye. All right, KK, I think we already, I stopped sharing already. So looks okay lah. Very simple question we got. You're muted.
Good to have a session with you, Martin. Thank you so much.
Man. We will do more often
next time.
yeah. Next time, right. We will do slightly with the research one you have. That'll be great.
Okay. Yeah. We will explore.
Okay. I'll catch you later.
See you.
Okay, bye.
Catch you later. Bye-bye.